Writers, once again, our target today is revising our work. And just like pilots, we as writers use our checklist every time we write. So let's take a look at our checklist to help us revise today. I was working with Angelina, the first grade author of the story about losing her tooth when she ate an apple. And we were looking at the checklist. I wrote about when I did something. Angelina and I talked about how we already discussed this, and we had a not yet, but then we revised it to make our story about one small moment instead of a big moment. So that is a yes. Then we went on to the next one. I tried to make a beginning for my story. That's what Angelina and I did yesterday. And even though she could say yes, she had tried to make a beginning for her story, she chose to write not yet yesterday and to make her beginning even better. And instead of just using setting, she started with talking. So she was able to write yes, she did try to make a beginning for her story. Then we went on to, I put my pages in order. I use words like and, then, and so. Angelina and I worked on this a long time ago, and so she already made sure that she had and, then, and so in her writing to show what happened in the beginning, the middle, and the end. Then we got to this part of the checklist. I found a way to end my story. And we took a look at her story. Oh, I gasped. I was eating an apple, then my tooth got lost. Then I put it under my pillow. I fell asleep. Then the tooth fairy came to get my tooth. And she gave me $1. And Angelina and I looked back at the checklist. Did she find a way to end her story? Yeah, she said, and she gave me $1. But Angelina and I were thinking, even though she could mark yes, she does have an ending, she thought that she could make it even better. So she chose to mark not yet. And she looked at our resources. When we learned about ways to end our story, we learned about 5 different ways. Let's remind ourselves of what those 5 different ways are that we can end our story. The first way we learned, is by rephrasing our opening, by reminding the reader of our main idea and saying it in a new way. Here's an example that we saw in the video. If your opening was, have you ever been to the zoo? I had a blast at the zoo this weekend. Then your closing, if you're rephrasing your opening, might be, my trip to the zoo was so awesome. Don't you want to visit the zoo now? So this author's opening was asking a question about the zoo, and their closing is asking a question about the zoo, but they've said it in a new way. So rephrasing your opening is one way to end your story. Another way to end your story is with feelings. Like, I love my new toy so much. I can't wait to play with it even more. Doesn't that sound better than, last I got home and played with my toy? This is so much more interesting. Another way to end your story is with the lesson learned. You might say, next time it snows, I will definitely be on the lookout for slippery ice. So the author clearly learned a lesson. That sounds a lot better than, then I went home from the hospital. The end. Another way you can end your story is with a hope. Like, I hope I can go back to the pool again before the weather gets cold. That gives your reader something to hang on to at the end. Lastly, you can end your story with an update. Like, now my baby sister is 2 years old. She gets cuter and cuter every day. So Angelina looked at these resources and thought, right now, my story says, and she gave me $1. I think I can make that even better by trying out one of these 5 endings. Let's see what Angelina did. Angelina decided that she would try to end her story with feelings. So she kept what she had written, but added on to make it even better. And she gave me $1. I was so excited. I planned to save my $1 up to buy a new toy. Oh my goodness, we decided together. That sounds so much better than the original ending Angelina had. So she went back to her checklist that said, I found a way to end my story, and she gave herself a yes. So writers, today, when you use your checklist to think about what pieces of your work you need to revise, remember that maybe you did write a beginning, and you can check yes, and maybe you did write an ending, and you can check yes. But great writers take risks, and they think about how they can take their beginning and ending and make it even better. So use our resources on the wall to figure out how you can make your work even better. The writing workshop has begun.